From Chicago to Boston, Midwest to the East Coast, and this island in the Caribbean known as Puerto Rico is why the bars are lethal. Got me going beast mode in this game called life. You better know some cheat codes. Il Divino's back, someone let the streets know. 6 shots for the folks and 5 shots for my peoples. I think it's high time we all have a sit down. Can we all agree the game is gone to shit now? Like the fall of Rome, the death of Romulus, history repeating itself if you know it's obvious. If you had your head inside of a book instead of binoculars, you'd be able to see without a pair of binoculars. Our tax dollars being spent towards the damn omnibus, but the rich stay rich, commoners remain commoners. The tentacles and everything like a damn octopus. Mass media, mass hysteria, how they control the populace. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Living in the shy, can't let them catch me snoozing. Dudes be shooting just for the amusement. I refuse to be a victim, never be a loser. When your city is a war zone, who gives a fuck about Putin? And there ain't nothing safe about the Safety Act. There's more safety in being strapped. They should choose you, shoot back. Those odds are better than getting caught laying on your back. Don't believe me, check the stats, I'm just bringing you the facts. With my hand on the Bible, I swear to rap the truth. My mighty God, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. My people perish for lack of knowledge. My knowledge I share with you. There's nothing we can't accomplish. One head ain't better than two. That's the purpose of a democratic republic. Discussion on every subject, in truth, logic, and reason, till we reach an agreement. A nation under God is how the states united. Got out of the picture, look how gradually we divided. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk.
Arrogance is the primary ingredient that will make you assume you can take action without God. Arrogance. That's actually what it is. You think you got this and you know more than God. That's why your drift turns into a drum.
Thank God for this day. Hey, you're not promised tomorrow. Realize your life is borrowed, so say what you gotta say. Hey, get it all off your chest. Nothing more, nothing less. Isn't that what Twitter's for? Clout. And all these other platforms. Followers who has more. You have found your reward. Matter of fact, engage some more, and for sure you'll find yourself in these social media wars. Oh Lord, let's talk about it. You be about it, I be about it. So relying on social media, how would you be without it? Non-existent, your entire system would just be a flop. If you don't listen and got no vision, how could you reach the top? Twitter fingers like a ninja, stay mass, move fast, you would know who hit ya. Cut you and split ya, causing division, moving on in you like a temporal pincer. Trying to paint the perfect picture, write lyrics like the holy scriptures. Even profound, you're feeling me now. After hearing the sound, you're hearing me now. Coming for the facts, now lose track. Got me thinking that this couldn't be more crazy. If I take it back to the very act, you would talk smack when you actually thought you played me. Tell me who's true, there's only a few. Keep me in tune while seeking the truth. Salute to the crew, I'm paying my dues. Be sure to give credit where credit is due. Thank God for this day. Hey, you're not promised tomorrow. Realize your life is borrowed, so say what you gotta say. Hey, get it all off your chest. Nothing more, nothing less. Isn't that what Twitter's for? Clout. And all these other platforms. Followers who has more. You have found your reward. Matter of fact, engage some more, and for sure you'll find yourself in these social media wars. Oh Lord.
Media is just like syphilis, wholesome wickedness, tearing folks down who bore witness to the passions of the movies that they love, to the director who rose up above, the hatred, the jealousy of those who was friendly, who turned into some of the worst of our enemies. A disgrace when your smiles in our face, doing that for only the clout that you chase. It's too late. Fruit of your labor was laced with a poison that most of you clowns couldn't taste. We know who you are, so fake the funk if you want. Make all your videos, cause we know you're a chump. You tried to divide, but we was wise to your lies. We testify that you were snakes in disguise. And don't depend on those little simps on your side. They only live off the drama you provide.
Thank God for this day. Hey, you're not promised tomorrow. Realize your life is borrowed, so say what you gotta say. Hey, get it all off your chest. Nothing more, nothing less. Isn't that what Twitter's for? Clout. And all these other platforms. Followers who has more. You have found your reward. Matter of fact, engage some more, and for sure you'll find yourself in these social media wars. Who would've thought there'd ever be a Muslim-Christian connection? Welcome to America, this ain't the kingdom of heaven. Two brethren with reverence to the Most High, keeping them strengthened. Counting our blessings in a time where there's division and tension. From the streets to these tweets, the people keep on wildin'. Violence keeps on rising in every single environment. So I pray for God's love to pour out and assalamu alaikum. But take my kindness for weakness, then you're sadly mistaken. I'm just like David, fighting off wars, bears.
We going up, shit going down. We lighting them up, you best hit the ground. Shooting them up, one after round. When there's blood in the air, you better not dare to come around town. Father, please forgive me, have mercy on my soul. Fools keep trying to test me and I will never fold. It's the way that Wendy raised me, the city of the gold. Load them up and let them go, load them up and let them go, load them up and let them fly.
Ooh, boy. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Still waiting for the boys to hop on. I'm not sure if they're going to make it or not. It's a late stream. They're supposed to, but we'll see. Either way, I wanted to make sure I went live to discuss the very things we were going to discuss together. Obviously, you see me with my Patriots hat on. The boys won it again today, so we're going to the bowl. You know, that's what matters here. It wasn't an easy victory, that's for sure. I mean, you know, if you watch the game, it was definitely a more of a defensive match than anything. You know, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's hard. I don't know how I feel about that. At the same time, you know, I think weather plays a part of that as well. You know, I don't want to pretend like that weather conditions weren't an aspect as to how that game played out. So that definitely played a factor. I would say as maybe to how greatly offensive the game was, you know. But that being said, they got the victory 10-7. They squeezed it in there. You know, I'll say this. It wouldn't be the first time that the Pats end up in the Super Bowl with this kind of a, like, I guess you could say, winning ability. What I mean by that is that for the long, like, since forever, like, you know, back to the Brady days, same thing. And obviously there's a new generation, new team, new dynasty that we're hopefully looking at. But even then, you know, again, back at its prime, I guess you could say, or at the height of its, you know, whatever, of the Pats dynasty, when they had Brady, there was like seasons and games that they would get to the chip, but like squeezing on by. You know what I mean? It's not like they absolutely dominated every game. It was just about winning the game. And then because of that, I think people would think to themselves like, oh, the Super Bowl is out of their grasp. And yet they would still win the Super Bowl. And so I guess I'm hoping that's what we're looking at, you know, because again, I know that these past wins that they had throughout the, you know, I guess you could say the playoff, you know, the playoff games, you know, from the wild card to the, you know, division game to the conference game, you know, they were all pretty close games. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they absolutely dominated, but, you know, which as a football fan, honestly, that's kind of the games you want to watch. I think, you know, you want to see that back and forth. But I think that people would rather watch the back and forth that we saw with the Seahawks and Rams. I think people would prefer a game like that, and rightfully so. You know, it was a game that offered what appeared to be some good defense. Obviously, some mistakes on a lot of mistakes on the Rams' behalf, I would say. But again, just a good defensive and offensive show of a game. I want to, like I said, that's why I'm leaning more towards the weather conditions over in Denver. that I think just didn't allow for that game to really take off the way it was supposed to. But it made for an interesting game in its own way. I'd say that. Obviously, the reality is now it's Pats and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. The reality there is that, well, the way things look, the Pats definitely have to like be more effective on offense if they intend to compete against the Seahawks. I mean, especially looking at the way the Seahawks been playing, it looks like their defense is on point, and clearly their offense is too. The Rams aren't, no slouch defense. Again, you saw a pretty good defensive game today as well. And I know when you're looking at the score, that's kind of hard to believe, but it's, again, you watch the game. Those scores didn't just appear like this, that it was just a lot of back and forth there. But yeah, do I still believe the Pats can do it though? Of course, I'm not counting my boys out. Can't do that, So definitely still counting them into the game. It's Boston strong for sure. Okay, I just see my boy over on Facebook. He says Drake made it to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen. Oh, dude, that's good. That's good. Hey, forgive me if I say the name wrong. It says Jesusime Osayi Osazua. I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce your name, brother. Forgive me if I've butchered it. So, but good point. Drake definitely made it to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen. That in itself is a crazy thing to consider. Obviously I've been seeing my boy. Matter of fact, I'll even probably throw him a bone right quick, see if he is available. I'm gonna see if my boy Peely can hop on. I don't know. I should so fresh. Right. Okay. I know. I was like, I know you have another name that I know you by. Okay. So fresh. Let's go. I like that. But yeah, I'm gonna see if Peely can hop on because I don't know if you've been following his page. Obviously, he's diehard Bills Mafia. Respectfully so. So I know he's been talking about it a lot. Some of the videos I've seen, it seems like I don't know. I got to get more into his head. I know for sure he doesn't like a lot of the moves that they've made or like how they're the politics of it all, or not even just the politics, but like I guess you could say even the fan base, how they're, I guess, quick to turn on their players and stuff. He did. I saw that he did a big up to what's his name? To Stephon Diggs today. Obviously, but in a way saying like, the Bills let him go, and here we are. So thanks to the Bills, Patriots, got a good season this year, and again, that's not a bad how do you say that's not a bad prediction, I guess you could. I don't know if that's the word I was actually looking for, but but nonetheless, yeah, it's crazy to think again. Last week we talked about it. It's sad because Josh Allen, I think is still one of the greatest QBs out there, so yeah, it is sad and kind of crazy. But here's the thing, like I said last week, how many great QBs have we had, that take so long to win a Super Bowl, or that don't win a lot of Super Bowls, but yet you can acknowledge that they were great QBs. Easily what comes to mind is like Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning, those guys were great QBs in their time. And it's not like they got a bunch of rings, and it took them a while to get them. So, so that being said, I feel like that's I feel like that's like something to consider when we're looking at Josh Allen's I guess you could say legacy. So as of right now, you know, it would be interesting. I don't know what it's gonna take. You know what I'm saying? Because it seems like every year he, you know, they have the tools or they have the team, they have the players. He, you know, I don't know if it's just on him, but again, I'm not a guy who watches the Bills often either. So, you know, it's more whenever I can catch one of their games or the highlights or the reviews and stuff. But yeah, again, it's very interesting to see that, man. Like the man's, you know, he goes hard. You know, Josh Allen, again, very impressive. And the Bills have set themselves up for success plenty of times. It's kind of crazy that they're not at the bowl again, you know, or they haven't won the Super Bowl yet. But am I mad at it? Not really. you know, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's I'm either rooting for the Patriots or the Bears. You know what I'm saying? I was obviously rooting for the Buccaneers when Tom Brady, you know, and actually I still like to see the Buccaneers play. I think Baker Mayfield's nice. But obviously, yeah, when Brady was over there, obviously I was watching the Buccaneers, you know. You just, you know, you can't as a Patriots fan, obviously, you know, it's the bias there is obviously it's going to be there. But yeah, you know, I think it is interesting. You made a good point there, also fresh. Drake May made it to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen. That is yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy to think, man. But I will say this too, though. Does that come down also to just, you know, organizations that just know how to move? You know, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like again, you look at, you know, the Patriots, yeah, like obviously once Brady left, it was like the downfall, right? They had their, you know, that dry spell, right? Belichick clearly, I don't know if the if he was exposed of sorts, and you know, obviously now he's gone. They got that new coach, Vrabel. Yeah, Vrabel. And you know, they got, and Drake May was there, so like, but they obviously revamped, and boom, like the team, you know, again, just what a record, you know what I'm saying? And now they're at the bowl, so you know, it's impressive. Look, here's the thing: a lot of people counted the Patriots out this year. That was the same way they did the Bears, and I think that's kind of what made that whole hype for me what it was. You know, it's like, again, both teams that I root for. One being the Patriots. You know, as a kid born from Boston, and then obviously, but I got to root for my Chicago Bears because, you know, I'm from Chicago. I was raised in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I lived a lot of my life in Chicago. That's just what that is. So, so that was so cool to see, and I was really hoping it would be the, you know, the Bears and the Patriots at the Super Bowl. Obviously, those who've been following know that was my constant rant. Was to see them both at the Super Bowl and have that repeat of the 85 Super Bowl, so to speak, and again rooting for I guess both teams, and I would have been content with either one of them winning. Now it's got to be the Patriots. You know, sorry for any Seahawks fans out there if you're a Seattle fan, or if you're one of the 12s, whatever they call themselves. Hey, you know, good luck. You know what I'm saying? I would say I think the odds are probably in your favor the way I was looking at some of the matchup predictors and stuff, or the game odds, even like on DraftKings and stuff. You guys are definitely the favorite team in this. But, you know, again, just you can't. I think it's a mistake to count out the Patriots. You know, saying the same way I thought. I mean, look, I still think that about the Bears. You know, like despite how that turned out, again, their loss wasn't like a crazy loss. It came down to just like you know, the minor details of the game. You know, what I'm saying that do matter though. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't know if the minor details are what are they, but just moments. You know, that do dictate, I guess, how the game goes. You know, but that being said, though, the Bears, again, same thing. I never counted them out throughout the whole season, just seeing the way they were playing. And I'm not gonna, I wouldn't, I'm not gonna, no, and I treat the Patriots the same way. Just you can never count them out. So even though I know that they're somewhat the underdog, I don't think people consider them fully out. I think there's the skepticism because of the games that they've won leading to the Super Bowl that just aren't. They're not dominating by many points or something of that nature, and they're low scoring games, so it would appear that it's again very defense heavy. But the reality is I also consider, I feel you have to consider the weather when you're thinking about that, because and I don't even know about that, honestly. Maybe the weather's not even a good reason. Again, it is crazy for sure. Their game against the Chargers, that one was a dominating game, I'd say, in a sense, right? Defensively, offensively, they did some things. But, and again, I have to make this point. It's just, I don't know that I've in all the years of me watching the Patriots, it's not that they dominate like that. It's just they get their W's, and that's how they play the game. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, again, you have that 16-3 score, Patriots versus Chargers in the wild card. Come to the division, Patriots versus Texans. Again, it was a pretty back and forth game for a minute there, but the Patriots still came through 28-16. That's a pretty good score, I would say. And then coming to the AFC Championship, 10-7, not the kind of score you want to see, but if you saw how that snow was coming down, and we all know how cold it is everywhere right now, especially the more north you are in the States. Like, it's really cold in Chicago right now. I don't know. You probably can actually hear my heater going on, and I have even the space heater just to even give it a little boost. That's how cold it is. So I imagine playing in that kind of weather, man. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. So again, I'm not mad at how that game went or in how it, how the score ended up. It makes sense to me, in my opinion, personally. But I'd say, hold on. I'm trying to get 3. Okay. Oh, I'm trying to get there. Okay, but okay. So Pinn's trying to make it on his way. He said, congratulations on the Pats. Oh, for sure. Okay, we're gonna have Pin in here. So that's good. Now we just, hopefully the homie Silos is still able to pop through. That game was rough. That game was rough, man. It was rough, but again, it's, man, that snow was coming down heavy too, though. But it was rough. Like, I don't want to, again, I'm not trying to lean too heavy on the weather conditions, but again, I say credit to the Broncos too. You know what I'm saying? That defense showed out. You know what I'm saying? It showed out. It showed. So I don't know if it's that. Look, we talked a lot of smack about the Broncos for sure throughout the whole time. And even, we're like, it's crazy. They don't really deserve to be the number one. It's crazy that they are the number one seed, but they were the number one seed. And here's the thing. I actually didn't watch a lot of the Broncos games. Maybe that's the game that I saw today. Maybe that was emblematic of that. Maybe even the game that I saw against the Bills. Again, I didn't think that was going to be that way. I thought the Bills were going to dominate or have, somewhat of a more, apart from just not getting the W, but I just thought that they were going to get the win, and I thought it was going to be somewhat of an easy win. So even that kind of threw me for a spin. I ain't going to lie. So again, maybe the fact that the Broncos played the way they played today, maybe that's just emblematic of how they've been playing all season, to why they were the number one seed. And folly was on me for for not giving them enough credit. But yeah, man. I think, like I said, I think it's still going to be a pretty close game. All things said, I think it's still going to be a close game. Come this Super Bowl 2 weeks from now, I don't think, I think the Patriots are going to do what they need to do, find what they need to fix, and make those adjustments come Super Bowl. And I think the game's going to be a lot more, Pin saying today was exactly how the Broncos season played. Good defense and no constancy on offense. They buns, my boy. All right, well then there you go. I mean, again, that defense clearly was what showed out today, 100%. You know, um, and um, and I guess that's probably what was expected. You know, because it did show. It did show. Um, hmm. um, but yeah, even watching again, then watching the game with the Seahawks and Rams, that was a good game. It was a good game to watch, you know, and um I honestly thought Stratford was gonna come through at the end there. It's you know, I felt two ways about it. I guess one is I was kind of happy because I'm like, all right, well, you guys knocked out the Bears, so I guess I don't care if you get knocked out. But a part of me was kind of like, you know, like that's Stratford. It kind of would be nice to see the, you know, I guess I would say the two highest talked about QBs for MVP, you know, face off in the Super Bowl. I thought that would have been nice. But I mean, the Seahawks took it, man. They deserve it, and it's gonna be nice. I think it's gonna be a good game. Pin says Seahawks look scary. I mean, they kind of do. I can't say they don't. You know what I'm saying? I can't say they don't. You know, just watching the way they played today. You know, but at the same time, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like the Rams had a lot of good chances there too, man. You know, and I think if again, if the Patriots do their homework and try and find the same cracks in the defense and exploit it, I think yeah, I think they can do it, man. But I'm not here to predict that they're going to dominate. That you won't hear me say that, okay? He said that's a complete team right there. Oh, 100%. And you know, on that being said, you know, obviously, you know, we get talking to a lot of, you know, we get talking a lot of smack, obviously, as we get hyped about these things. So I know we definitely at one point we one point felt some type of way about what's his name, their QB, man, what's his name? Man, I was just there it goes. I was just looking at it. Yeah, Sam Darnold. I really, you know, the way we were saying we're not worried about him, and honestly, I'm not. I'm actually still not worried about Darnold. But he showed out today too, you know, and I think that matters, you know what I'm saying? So credit where credit is due. Ooh, Super Bowl live watch party. That might be the move, man. That actually might be the move. We would have to set things up for that for sure. And hopefully come that time, this cold is gone. It should be gone by then. But yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I think we should do that. Super Bowl live party, watch party. Why not? You know, you know, in real time reaction, real time commentary. You know what I'm saying? Not that we're like Brady or anything, or these other guys that obviously you know, commentate during the game, but you know, we'll do our best. We'll do our best. You know. And but I guess look, like the title says, battle ready. That's what you'll see that day. Hopefully, is that, you know, we're battle ready, especially me as a Patriots fan. It'd be nice if I could have my, you know, my uncle and my nephew and those of us and cousins stuff that are Patriots fans that live out, you know, used to live out here, but you know, everybody ventured their own way. Actually, low key, you know, my uncle's up in Minnesota, so constantly praying for him with everything that's going on up there. But yeah, man, you know, I think it's an exciting time as a Patriots fan. I can only speak on that because, you know, again, it was rough. It was rough once Brady left, and just kind of seeing what seemed to be the downfall of the downfall of the dynasty, you know. But man, it's great to see this just turn around. And obviously, I felt the same way about the Bears this year, man. It was so good to watch them play. this season. And obviously, as we said last week, that's going to be a team to be reckoned with going forward, no matter what. NFC North, they might be the kings of that for a good time being, So that's going to be interesting to see the moves that they make throughout the offseason and what it's going to take for them to like keep leveling up. And same thing with the Pats, man. Like, look, I want them to win the Super Bowl, but if they don't, I'm just happy they got there. I got my boy up in Facebook again. He says, I got Ricardo. He says, "What up, bro? Salute to you, my brother. Go Patriots. You already know what it is. You already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Boston strong, baby." But yeah, man. So, like I said, it's gonna be an interesting game. Man, I look forward to that game. This is the things I'm looking forward to. Is one, obviously better weather. I feel like better weather makes for a better game. That's just a fact. As cool as it actually is to watch a game with like crazy conditions, whether it's snow or rain, and then it brings out the grit. It kind of shows you what they're really made of, because it's like no matter what the conditions are, they're still playing. They're still trying to get a W. They're still trying to make plays. That's great to watch. But at the same time, it's like that regardless of how hard they're playing, you're not getting them at 100%. You're not getting the full capabilities of each player, the full ability of each player. So, but again, yeah, it's still obviously good to watch them play at that height or at that level. So I just feel like in a good condition, though, again, I think we're going to see a difference of a different Patriots team play against the Seahawks. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I think like for anybody who's counting out the Patriots because of how today's game went, don't do that. Look, Broncos defense was great and the weather's was crazy. So, I just feel like, again, Texans defense also is a good defense. And look how the Patriots came out of that one. So it's like let's give my Pats, give them some credit. Let's give them some love, and support, and I think they're gonna pull through. But yeah, and if they lose though, I'm not mad at it, man. I'm not mad at it. Again, they got that far, and that's what matters. There was something else I was looking at low key, because there were some talks already. Matter of fact, man, that's why I kind of wish even these guys were on, because I know there was some. We were talking about the trades and the coaches and the moving of certain high, teams picking up certain coaches, so it was just kind of cool to see some of that kind of fall through already. We kind of went to see some of the talks, but let's see if I could find which coaches went where I saw that at, because it was definitely cool to see, man. Let's see, man, was that it? Nope. Where did I see it? There were some moves that were made, and I'm like, oh, okay. I think that was one of the ones we were talking about. Man, where did I see it? Man, you know what? Maybe it was on X. I don't know. You know what? I don't remember where I saw it. I know somebody sent me something, and that's why I'm like, hold on. I think that's how I saw it. What? Oh, here we go. I think this is it. Matter of fact, actually, now that I think about it. Here we go. See if I can pull it up. Oh, never mind. Actually, that wasn't it. What in the world? All right. Well, I thought there was something to discuss there. We got Edwin in the chat. He says you gotta ask Malone. I would. Hold on. Malone, hold on. Espérate. ¿De qué tú hablas, pai? Because I'm a little confused on that one. I ain't gonna lie. He said you got to ask Malone. Let's see. Okay, we got Ricardo back in the chat. He says we need to chop it up sometime. We definitely do, brother. We definitely do. I'd like to obviously chop it up. Matter of fact, even if you wanted to hop on the show too, sometime like the old days, though, for sure. He says people be talking smack about our Patriots, but they just don't know what they got. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like it's always. I feel like because people see the way we play, and the way the games are won, that there's this doubt, and I get it. Like I kind of get it, but like when I don't know how to explain it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, just the way they pull through every time. You know what I mean? Like I said, even when they had Brady, a lot of their victories came in that manner. And people were upset about it. Then they would even actually use that to like discredit Brady's ability as a QB. Like, oh yeah, but they're not. They're winning by field goals. You know what I'm saying? So like, really, it's the guy is back when it was Vinatieri or back when whoever whatever other kicker they had. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really the guy. You know what I'm saying? Well, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? But we got the win. That's the point that was being made. It's like, well, we were winning though, regardless, though, weren't we? Man, I wish I could find what trades there were that I saw that I was just like, oh, okay. These the teams that are already looking at like taking up these coaches and where was it, man? Never mind that. You know what? If the homies hop on, I'm sure they know what I'm talking about. They can break that down. What else can we talk about while we're here? Oh, yes. Okay. Obviously Chicago, I'd be remiss if I did not talk about the Bulls games yesterday. And in fact, again, oh man, I ain't gonna lie. I had a good time yesterday with friends, but man, did it hurt to not be at that game. Obviously for those who know, D Rose's jersey was put up in the stadium or in the arena. They retired his jersey there, and obviously a big moment for Chicagoans. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for those fans of even Chicago Bulls, I would say, you had to have been here to like know what I'm even referring to. It was very. How do you say? Watching the Bulls play during that during that era, when Rose was here, the hope and the faith we had, we never won the NBA championship or anything, or the finals, but man, I can't tell you how much like it didn't matter. Like, I don't know that there was some kind of like way that we just couldn't always just feel like we could rely on Rose. And in fact, like even when it came down to it, our blame, our anger would be towards like the coaching and or not even the or like the organization itself, you know what I'm saying? Like the owners and stuff. Cause like just the way they would go about like making trades and this and that. And then, yeah, obviously we did blame Thibodeau for a while there. I look, personally, I felt like Tim Thibodeau got us to the playoffs, and that's why I'll never really go too hard on him. But, if you've seen me and Penn discuss it before, we obviously also know that, Penn feels like that's also the reason we didn't go all the way, though, because he's the type of guy to play his players the whole way through and not know how to, like, I guess, bring in the help that he needs or that your star players need. And, and that's all rightfully so too. Like, I can't even say anything against that. Ricardo back on Facebook says, you know what's crazy? I had tickets to that game. Yeah, yesterday, but I ended up in a hospital with a freaking flu. Oh, man, brother. I feel for you on that one, bro. I feel for you on that one. That sucks, dude. That sucks. To have had the tickets and not be able to go because of flu, dude. Oh my gosh. I hope you're better though, bro. I really, what's more important is that you're feeling better. I pray for a speedy recovery for you. I pray for the healing power of God to work in your life right now. In the name of Jesus. So, but take care of yourself, brother. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's crazy, man. Honestly, I myself have been somewhat going through some myself on my end, not the fluids. Got like some stomach issues, man. Um, but I think just figuring out what I'm supposed to be eating is the right move right now going forward. So um, we'll deal with that as that goes on. But trusting in God still nonetheless for him to, work with that in my life. But yeah, man, back to D Rose, man. Like that was again, I didn't get to go to the game, and I couldn't even really watch the game because again, I was at this get together with friends for a birthday, and and I'm not, look, we had a good time. It was actually a fun time. It was like a costume party, so to speak, Shrek themed. So everybody kind of like was a different character from Shrek. I went as Robin Hood. The wife went as Pinocchio. A lot of it was actually like last minute decisions because a lot of other people had already chosen the characters we would have wanted to be. So that's why we went the way we went. But anyways, I got to see some of the videos, the highlights, and that in itself was great to see. I mean, the speeches that the guys gave, like Luol Deng, especially. I think I felt his was probably one of the most touching ones, but not to no. I mean, they were all good. They were all good, but something about Luol Deng's really hit me. But the way Luol Deng spoke, Taj Gibson, Joakim Noah being there, man, dude, Michael Jordan was there. It was an event again for Chicago, dude. Derrick Rose is from Chicago, so that's what made that kid so special. And I say kid, but that guy so special for us is that he came from Chicago. The boy can hoop. He had such skills. I mean, if you saw even yesterday, he was still shooting some shots out there. I mean, like you could probably still put him on the court right now. He'd probably still be able to do something, maybe. But man, it was such a great event, and very heartfelt. Obviously, a lot of like players and athletes gave their, recognition of the moment. Frank Thomas even said something, I think, on X, so that was cool to see. But man, every player that's played with Derrick Rose said something. Paul Gasol. So that again, it was cool to see, great to see, just heartfelt moment. And I definitely still intend on watching the entire game when I have the chance, to sit down and watch it. That's for sure. But shout out to Derrick Rose, man. Honestly, I don't know if you ever watched this or not, but if you do by chance watch this, shout out to you, bro. Much love for what you did for the organization when you were with us, but even for what you even continue to do for the city, man. Like for those who follow Derrick Rose, he actually does a lot for the city. Still, very involved with a lot of community outreach and stuff like that. So that's dope. And a lot of these guys are like that, dude. Like, a lot of the Bulls players were like that back when they were here. I don't know if they're still involved with that stuff, but I know back then they were heavy. But man, let's see. So yeah, if you're a Chicago fan, you know what I'm talking about. You know how this feels for us. That was just a great moment for us. And so, I mean, you put that together, look, Bears had a good season. Bulls recognized, Derrick Rose's legacy for that organization, retires jersey. It was a good moment, man. I know a few friends that actually made it to the game. I was able to kind of live vicariously even through their snaps. But obviously it's not the same as being in the game, or being there. So that would have been something, but it's okay. Again, in the end of the day, I guess family and friends is more important, right? Not I guess, that is the case, and that's what we were doing. We were spending time with family and friends. So, I'm not mad at it completely. It just, for sure. I gotta catch the replay of it all. So I definitely want to see what it was like throughout the whole event, the whole game. Again, even being able to watch the game, some of the clips was kind of great. These guys were doing their thing. I'm trying to remember the boy's name. But it was a close game too. And it's always a close game. And go figure, here's the thing. Get this, guys, versus the Celtics. So it's like there's nothing more I love watching whenever like the Bulls and the Celtics play. Again, being somebody who's reps both teams, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, as a Chicagoan, I root for the Bulls. As a kid born in Boston, family in Boston, I root for the Celtics too. So whenever they play against each other, like I have no dog in the fight. All I care to see is a good game, and for whatever reason, like it's always a good game whenever the Celtics and the Bulls play each other, and it didn't disappoint. I think the score was 114 to 110 or 113 to 110, something like that. Can't remember right now, but it really was a good game, and again, just incredible showing. 114 to 111. That's what the score was. That's right. So yeah, man. Again, good times for Chicago as far as that's concerned. Not this weather though, man. This weather, we need this weather I really needed to change up, man. But let's see, man. Let's keep it moving. Unfortunately, the boys is not in here yet. Well, if they are able to hop on and they want to discuss things that I already discussed, I'll be more than willing to do so. But just to keep this moving, to the next thing, one of the topics that I know me and the homie were interested in talking about, me and Silos, was the new Zack Snyder post that he's posted with his comic books. Which again, this guy, I mean, he is constantly posting stuff out there that you just can't help but be like, yo, like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we waiting for? Matter of fact, I should have been showing this. Let's go ahead and bring it up, actually. See if I can do this. Boom, share screen. Boom. And let's go. Is it this one? Nope, this one. There we go. Bam. So you can see here, good old Zack Snyder with 2 comic books. He says, "Some days don't feel real. Hanging with my buddy Ayman Hariri. His comic collection is beyond." Oh, so this is actually his boys' comics collection. But see, this is where it's like, don't tell me, because here's the thing. I'm still, for whatever reason, even when I talk about, this guy's work with DC Comics and stuff, still online, there's this weird, like, vitriol of, like, and just, I don't know, lies. I feel like lies and hypocrisy. But then, no, this is actually the latest post, which let me see if I can put the volume on here. Yeah. Come on, man. It says, "First ever gauntlet smash practice without the goat. Shot on my phone. Pure joy, pure power." Great moment, obviously. Great shot. Again, he's sharing all these things, and you just can't help but feel like, the man is clearly saying something. This was the one we were talking about last week with the Dark Knight comic in the back. The man is clearly, I feel, trying to tell us something, or at the very least playing at something here, I feel. He's, I don't know exactly what, I'm not pretending to know, but look, man, the man clearly loves the work. You know what I mean? I personally love these movies. They were great movies. And if we're gonna be honest, again, people can feel however they feel about like the latest DC stuff. With James Gunn, that's fine. These were the storyboards we were actually talking about last week. Which again, very interesting that he's showing that again. But again, if we're going to be honest, if we're just going to be honest for a moment here, the reality is DC was most profitable during the tenure, I guess, for lack of a better word, of Zack Snyder directing DC, you know, and Nolan before him. Those were the like highest moments for DC, you know. And it's I hope it's so in my mind, what I'm hoping is happening here is the reason we're seeing this is because, again, whether DC goes or DC, well, DC, but more so Warner Bros., whether it goes with Netflix or Paramount Plus, or Paramount for that matter, or Paramount Skydance Paramount, whatever the name of the company is. The reality is I feel the man is showing that there's more buzz still for what we got with his work, you know, from Man of Steel to Batman versus Superman to Zack Snyder's Justice League, even Watchmen, if you want to even, you know, consider that, because that is DC, right? There's still buzz with that, more buzz revolving around that than there is anything that James Gunn is talking about regarding DC. The latest thing that probably got the most buzz, and that's not, you know, and that's not a secret, and this is technically probably the secret weapon, or not the secret weapon, but if they had any brains, this would be what they're trying to do or focus on. It's this guy, Jason Momoa, being introduced as Lobo. That's probably the hold on. Let me mute that. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Well, you guys can kind of hear it. But if let's look at that. Let's look at that. I don't mind playing that. Boom. At the stage. Let's mute that. But this is it. This is probably the most hype.
Do you have any comments about playing Lobo?
I love Jason Momoa's work and what he does. Who he
Finally.
Is, you know, and we all want to see Lobo, and then competing with Lobo. I mean, you know, so you know that speaks for itself. You feel me? And that's that. You know what I'm saying? Like, personally, like, if we're gonna be honest, like, when that Supergirl trailer came out, I wasn't too hyped about it. If there's anything that I'm kind of just tired of is just, bro, like, you're, and this is not just his fault, this is Warner Brothers' fault, because this has kind of been their MO for the longest time now. And that's, you know, you're constantly trying to just mimic something, like you want to replicate something, you want to redo something, right? Like, so, you know, you know, when you guys got rid of Zack Snyder, you know, and you bring in Joss Whedon because, oh, you wanted that Marvel thing, you know, and then you get James Gunn for the same reason, you know, now he's here doing that very same thing, you know. Anybody who's honest, you know, knows that Superman movie and even the Suicide, like, well, yeah, not even the Suicide Squad. Like, and here's the thing, as I said before, the Suicide Squad, that's his niche. That's where you should stay and play in that little sandlot of yours if you're gonna do, you know, direct movies. But the reality is like you're copying and pasting what you do with what you did with Guardians of the Galaxy, you know. And when now what's sad is like even the Supergirl trailer, it's like, well, we know it's not directed by him, but geez, do you feel like it's heavily influenced by him because it's got the same like thing, like, oh, this is Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, and it might work. It might work. I'm not going to completely dismiss it because it's in space. So, you know, again, it's very sci-fi, very how do you say, left to the imagination of whatever you want to believe and, you know, and put together. So cool. So it might work. Again, that might work, but at the same time, I'm just tired of seeing characters just be the same. Like, you know, have this like same thing about them, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, every character has to be like funny and like, you know, or whimsical or wonky or like kind of cool or like, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know, like this weird thing, you know, it's like, because that, you know, you need that character and whatever the case may be. So like where Superman just portrayed somewhat of a starlet to me in Superman. Even watching this like Supergirl trailer, she just feels like Star-Lord, you know. So I don't know. All that's ranting on. I really don't want to keep hitting that, but or hitting that point. The whole point that I'm really just trying to push here is that when I see Zack Snyder posting this stuff, I just can't help but feel he's trying to let us know something, and that's that eyes are on us with what we want, like what we really want here. And I'm not saying that I care too much, like I said last week with Silos when he was on here, and that's that I don't care if they keep the James Gunn thing going, and even the Matt Reeves thing going for that matter. I mean, if I will say, that's kind of the only thing I am interested in when it comes to DC stuff coming out right now. It's the Matt Reeves stuff. Not that obviously, those who know, I had my issues with the Batman. That's fine, but I feel like I'm still more invested in that just because of what was good about the Batman and then what was great about the Penguin, So I'm definitely kind of like eager to see what he's doing with this Batman 2 project. Or whatever it's going to be called. I don't know if that's what it's going to be called, but the second, the sequel to that. And from what I hear, it's picking up, I think, where Penguin leaves off. So it seems like it's actually they're in tandem, which is great. Which kind of, I don't know, speaks volumes on another level too. Although if I'm going to give him some slack, it's like it's easier, I guess, to make a cohesive linear storyline when you're just grounded with characters that are more grounded, I guess. So like the Batman universe, for that matter, or what you do there, probably is an easier thing to follow than compared to what I feel has been the vomit something out and see what comes, like just a projectile of storytelling that we got with James Gunn, and not. You could take that both ways, I guess, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned. Like it's like a double metaphor. It was vomit, but like the way it project out the it's just like whatever came out, and that's kind of what we got. But yeah, I think that's what Zach is trying to tell us when we see these posts. Again, it's like the man can cook when it comes to DC, clearly. And that was the most successful run or era we had when it came to DC, So it only makes sense to bring him back. Again, like I said before, Marvel has the common sense of bringing back the directors and actors and characters that clearly work the most well for them, just to get another swing at, possibly course correcting and getting people back invested into that story arc, that they got going. If they have any sense here with DC, Warner Brothers and whoever's going to own that, hopefully they have the same common sense here. If you really are trying to compete, and maybe they're not, and that's the sadder part, if they're really not trying to compete, if they really just think to themselves, oh yeah, we're just going to do what we're doing here. I think that, and here's the thing, they've been saying that, but that's easy to say when, well, you guys can say that because you guys have been sucking for such a long time now, like you guys haven't been that great of a as far as DC is concerned with your movie franchise. Now, to give them credit where credit is due, they have had other great products come out, and that in itself, I guess, credit where credit is due, right? Like they did right with Barbie, apparently, Minecraft, Sinners, so they had some good swings there, but that's Warner Brothers, and that's forget their names, Abdi and Luca, if I'm correct, so it's a whole nother like department, okay. Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. That being said, I can say is like for those of you guys who are invested in, having Zach come back and I guess, do his thing. We got to keep showing interest. We got to keep talking about it. And yeah, I personally feel there's something right around the corner with him regarding DC. And I think it's because, it's about to be sold off to either Netflix or Paramount. And in a sense, he's in good tidings with both. He's already working with Netflix. He's got people in partnerships and another film that he's supposed to be doing with Paramount, Skydance, if I'm correct. So yeah, he's either way it goes, it can't play in his face. And again, I don't for a second think he's just posting this just to post these things. And if he is, I mean, cool, nonetheless, right? Like they're still cool posts to look at and see that he's still kind of intrigued by that world. Personally, in my opinion, though, I just feel like it's him letting us know, the fans, and fans then let Paramount or Netflix know, like, hey, this is what we want. Again, because this is kind of the same thing that happened back in 2019. When it was even before that technically, but regarding just the Snyder Cut, it was eventually he caught wind. He kind of wisened up, I guess, with us on realizing how to get us to post things and stuff. And this is back when he wasn't even on IG. He wasn't even on the gram. So it's definitely interesting to see that this is what he's now doing on Instagram. So it's like, okay, cool. So that's dope. And yeah, I'm hoping that this shows interest, into whoever does purchase Warner Brothers, and lets them know, like, hey, whether we keep this gun stuff and Reeves stuff going, we should still be doing this. Or if it's, give somebody the boot and bring this guy in, I'm happy with that too. I'm probably more happy with that, to be honest. Probably more happy with that. But, a good point that Silos made is like, well, look, apparently there are people that do like this gun stuff. So maybe the route is like, have it all, man. And you can do it all, right? That's the thing. That's the thing, is like, you technically can do it all, right? Like, you do not have to be concerned. It's kind of weird, actually, and I hate that they had this mindset that, like, oh, well, because we're doing this here, we don't want to do this here. It's like, no, who cares, man? Like, you know what? Yeah, you got you guys were gonna do something with Green Lantern. That shouldn't have stopped you guys from allowing Zack to have Green Lantern in the Justice League movie. So like, who cares? Who cares, man? Like the universe, the DC universe is like, as the Marvel universe is big enough for all these characters to be all existing at once at the same time, technically. And sadly said, you guys were slow to the punch to deliver that now people would look at Marvel and think that they're the ones who kind of came up with that concept. Cinematically, of course, I'm referring to, because obviously we already have the Spider-Man No Way Home, right? That introduced that concept, right? These 3 different Spider-Men, from different universes. Then you have Deadpool and Wolverine did the same thing, where there's alternate versions that exist, and not even just timeline wise, but dimension wise and stuff like that. So yeah, interesting stuff to see, I guess, there. But yeah, if whoever purchases it, again, Netflix or Paramount, if you're listening, bring the boy Zack back. You need to bring Zack back, period. Like, you need to bring him back. And if you can even convince Nolan to come work again, the Terrios and the Goyers, that whole crew, bring them back. DC, we need to have that in DC, because that really is what set DC apart from Marvel, and in a good way. You guys got to keep in mind, like, Dark Knight trilogy was competing, just Batman alone, but with great script writing. Again, different tone, different stuff, and it competed with Avengers and stuff. Like the entirety of the Avengers. All right, so believe me when I say, like, even, and I know you guys were looking for BVS to hit $1 billion, and it almost did. And if you guys were just on up to the fact that it was just your poor marketing that fumbled that, let's just be honest, and also maybe just not really releasing it as the the ultimate cut or the ultimate edition, because apparently people do require the ultimate edition. Me personally, not so much. I actually saw the theatrical version 5 times in theaters when it came out theatrically as a theatrical version. So there's that. But the reality is nonetheless, Man of Steel is still your most successful Superman film to this day. The Batman versus Superman Again, also Superman film technically, but you got you got these other characters introduced, so that's that, and then again, Justice League we'll never know because you guys didn't, have the cojones to release that in theater. I think y'all should have, because real talk, I think that would have been the telltale sign for you guys to actually get the confidence that you guys need to have to know that, oh no, this is what people want, and it's good. Appreciate you, Pin. He says 100, because it's just true, man. It's just true. Oh snap. Okay, hold on. Let me get back here to Facebook. I got Manny P here on Facebook. Bro, you gotta, I don't see these messages on my live stream. Sorry, I'm barely seeing them now. He says, do you have any political episode coming soon? Asking for a friend. Well, I'm gonna probably actually hop into some political stuff right now, seeing that I still got some time. He said Marvel's better. That's why. I don't know what you're talking about, but we're better. Me and the Marvel. He said, read the chat. Penguin was fire as F though. No, yeah, Penguin was. Look, man. The reality is if again, I'm not going to pretend like that Marvel Doomsday thing right now is what's hitting. It is, right? But why? Because they smartened up. They're like, oh, okay, you know what? We got to bring the old guys back. Like bring back the team, bring back the Russo brothers, and they know, and clearly they know what they're doing. They even know how they even the way they're rolling it out little by little. They know what they're doing, And again, it's sad to see because it's like, man, DC has that and had that already, and just the fact that they keep deterring from what does compete, and it is Zack Snyder's Justice League. Everybody after seeing Zack Snyder's Justice League on, unfortunately only through HBO Max. Some people got lucky inside of theater, with the limited. I don't even know if it was like releases that like it was like. You know what? You guys know what I'm talking about. Those that it's like it was like these like little watch party, not even watch party. I don't know what to call it because it wasn't even like it was like premieres, I guess you could say. Actually, I don't know, somewhat of a premieres that they did, but those guys got lucky. But the reality is it's still one of the highest rated or highest charted numbers of film that HBO Max had, the numbers showed, but apart from that, even when you saw the talks on podcasts and those that followed up with the just how we were looking at the movie, everyone, even those that we hated on they hated on Justice League and even have something negative to say about Zack Snyder, even they had to say yeah, this was definitely the better film of between what the Justice League that Warner Bros. Decided to release in 2017 with Joss Whedon and what we got there, and they were like, and it makes more sense because it for sure flows better following Batman versus Superman, and it had everybody hyped. Once you get to the end and you see Darkseid, and it's like, oh snap, you got this big bad villain that that's just now saying he's going to come with an armada. You know what I'm saying? So, and then all these other characters that were introduced, like Martian Manhunter, and it's like, oh snap, and now he's making himself known and wants to be part of the team. So like it's just crazy that they're going to snooze on this, that they're willing to snooze on this, all because they think that there's something here with what James Gunn is cooking, which, if we're going to be honest, like, no, it's not. Sorry. Nobody's excited for this weird version of Hawkgirl that you guys decided to put out there. This weird version of Metamorpho. The weird version of Green Lantern. Or not, I say weird version, but the Guy Gardner version. I think, yeah, Guy Gardner, yeah. For whatever reason, and all comical versions. Like none of those characters are even serious. None of them are serious in that movie. Like none of them have any. Oh, dude, it's so annoying. I can't even. And meanwhile, then you look at this Doomsday trailers and these little sneak peeks that you're getting, and the tone is set. You know, the stakes are high. You feel the weight of, you know what I'm saying? And that's, anyways. You can, and the thing is, like, y'all have that sitting. Y'all have that technically as a movie y'all can do. And this is what you chose to do, is this James Gunn stuff. Anyways, whole point is yeah, whoever purchases it next, that's the move. He says it depends what we're talking about. I'm picking DC Comics over Marvel, but if we talking movies, yeah, Marvel got it in the bag. Yeah. Well, DC Comics right now, anybody reading the comics, I'm well, you know, Marvel's got some good comics too right now. I'm not gonna say they don't, but no, DC Comics right now, comics, man, those storylines crazy right now. The Absolute storyline, the DC Knockout storyline, it's insane. And there's a few other good ones too. I'm just naming my favorites at the moment. Anyways, let's see. But yeah, movie wise at the moment, the reality is Marvel, I think, still got it. You know what I'm saying? Again, even though the Fantastic Four movie didn't do numbers the way I think it should have, I think again it's Fantastic Four. As much as like a lot of us know the Fantastic Four and we like Fantastic Four, whatever, I don't think that's like it didn't come with that heavy, you know, I don't know. I think there's a few things. One, I do believe there is this like somewhat of a superhero, not dry spell, but you know, people are kind of tired of that. But I think what they're tired of is the same thing. And I think people didn't know that this was going to be different. And I think that's why it didn't do what it should have done. Because that Fantastic Four movie, actually, I really did like. You know, we talked about that last week too, these past 2 weeks. But let's see. Manny P on Facebook says Man of Steel was good because of Thor. Yeah, Thor for sure. I like it. Thor is my favorite Marvel character for sure. And I hope that they do him justice with this Doomsday stuff, because honestly, that Love and Thunder movie, oh my gosh, really pissed me off. It's like that one artist who's really talented but doesn't release music because he's a perfectionist. Yeah, that's what it seems like. You know what I mean? For sure. You know, but I know it's not on him. That's the sadder part. It's not really on him. But anyways, so yeah, look, that being said, to wrap that part up, I will say, yeah, whoever purchases Warner Brothers, have the sense of bringing Zack Snyder back to finish that story arc, because he was going somewhere, he was cooking. I mean, that nightmare sequence, right? That nightmare sequence that we all saw, you know, it's you can't pretend like you're not thinking about that every time you're thinking about that universe. Like, man, what were we gonna see in that nightmare timeline, right? Where where Superman does submit to the anti-life equation, and if it was going to be anything similar to the storyboards, right? The death of Lois Lane, like all that stuff, right? Batman teaming up with Deathstroke and Joker, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, who doesn't want to see that, right? That timeline, which Zach has made clear that, like, that's definitely what he wants to do, like, as a movie. I think as the second part of that arc of the Justice League, right? And not even just that, like that's like the main thing. But man, like, I would still like to see Ben Affleck's like Batman storyline with Deathstroke. Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. I mean, tell me he did not look sick as Deathstroke in Justice League. Just to see what that was going to be, man. I'd like to see that. I honestly still even want to see the air cut. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, is it a shame we haven't seen that yet? There's so many things DC, or Warner Brothers is snoozed on, and it's sad, man. Like, what the hell, but like I said, whoever does purchase Warner Brothers, please, like, realize that this is a move for you guys. You guys can bring Zack back. You can restore the Snyderverse. You can release the air cut. You can allow work something out with Ben Affleck to do that Batman movie. You know what I mean? And have Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke, or even do something as Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many good characters that were like being cooked up. You know what I'm saying? Let Zack Snyder cook with his Green Lantern. You know what I mean? Man, let us get that. That's all I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna end that on that, right? Let's keep this moving. All right. Now, the reason I called the title Battle Ready is because I feel like everything I'm discussing is revolving around battle, you know what I'm saying? Just the fight, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's sports, right? It's the versus thing, like the clash of the Titans, the clashing of, just grit and things of that nature, sports related at least. Then you come to I think the side of, where I'm now talking entertainment, same thing, the clash of ideas and culture and, companies and stuff, right? And who's buying what, who's going to do what, and who's directing whatever, the DC versus Marvel, whatever, who's better, whatever. And I say that I'm placating with the idea, or I'm not placating, I'm playing with the idea, obviously, of the versus thing, the battle ready, whatever. But it's because it's a thing and it exists, right? There are people, the DC versus Marvel thing is a thing. Even right now, if you are a DC fan, that you're divided with either pro James Gunn, or you're pro Zack Snyder, or you're pro Matt Reeves, or you're pro everything, whatever, you know what I'm saying? The contention of ideas, right? But the reality is that goes even beyond that. I feel like we're further than that, right? And now we're definitely in a time where culturally and socially, on a society level, that seems to be the case, right? And there's a few things to be said about that, I'll say. And where to start? Let me, I guess, start with what I think seems to be what's heaviest on everybody's mind right now, because, this is what I'm just seeing everywhere I go. And obviously it would be these ICE deportations at this moment that's being, I guess, hyper-focused in Minnesota. Obviously the last thing that just occurred, I think, is still under investigation from what I last saw. So there's still much to be said there. But here's the reality, right? What I don't like about the situation is where everyone's everyone's so quick about these things, and not just this scenario, right? Like, it's like I'm not saying anything because I'm still trying to figure out, like, I'm always going to give someone the benefit of the doubt, right? I have to see why something happened, right? Like, obviously, even when it came to the last situation with old girl in the truck, that got shot, right? And me and Penn, we somewhat agreed, or we mostly agreed, and we had somewhat of a disagreement on that, right? But even when it came to that, right, like my biggest thing is, like, I didn't speak on it right away because it's like I always know there's always more, right? And then sure enough, because obviously circulating was like the one angle, and it was like, hold on, like, let me wait, because this isn't the first time this has happened. And it's like, sure enough, you give things time, and all of a sudden now you get more perspective. There's more to the story. So I'm just waiting to see what's more to this story, because I have to believe, like, all right, you have to have had a reason to why you thought this was a thing, right? So from what I did see that was confirmed was that this guy who just got shot, according to the police chief, was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry, and with no known criminal record. So I'm trying to figure out if that's what happened. That's the one thing I'm paying attention to. Is like, was the gun on him at the time, right? And I haven't seen anything about that yet, but let me keep going, right? Okay. Right. So that's the thing. They're still deciding whether or not he was brandishing the weapon when shot, So that's still in discussion. And here's the thing, like, but this, so regarding that, I would say, look, man, if the gun wasn't pointed at you, then I'm gonna say that, yeah, you kind of went a little too far, bro. Not a little too far, you went too far, right? Like, someone lost their life for this. But if there was a struggle for the gun, then different story. And again, it's hard to say because it's all these officers surrounding them, and there's this fighting going on. And see, this is the sadder part, though. Like, this is what pisses me off is that if, again, I will say this again, if Buddy did not reach for his weapon or anything of that nature, if it was on him or not, again, I don't know yet. But if he was, then okay. Then yeah, all right, it is what it is, at that point. And it's kind of ridiculous that we're here now. But if not, then again, there has to be some form of justice and I guess you could say consequence for the officer that did shoot, or the officers. I think it was just one officer. From what again, hard to say from the videos that I saw, it looked like it was only one officer. But if it was multiple, then yeah, whoever was participating in that, yeah, there has to be some form of like consequence. But what I will not allow to be the narrative here, still, because this is what the narrative has, and this is the sad part. There's like a couple. There's people that are in this because they're emotionally moved by these things, right? And for them, I give the most leniency, I guess, right? The most looseness of a rope, right? Like, all right, the most length of a rope, as much as I don't agree necessarily with everything that's being said, because I'm more interested in the facts of the things and everything that's all the things that matter when we're discussing these things, rather than just how do you say basing my thoughts on emotions, I guess, right? But the reality is none of this would be as bad as it is, or how it's engaging to be, if there wasn't this fight and pushback in the first place, right? Like, the laws are the laws. You know what I mean? Like this whole idea that we're gonna stop deportation from happening, even though it's lawfully being done, like it's in the laws, like it's not. There's no fighting that. Like, I know people might not like it. I get that. I get that. I'm not saying that you don't have. I'm not saying you don't have a voice there, or you can't have an opinion there. That's fine. But this idea that you think you can just intervene with technically what is lawful, deportations, right? Which is for their division in that department, their version of what's what I'm looking for, cases or investigations, and it's like another word I'm looking for. I mean, me and Pin kind of touched on this the last time when it was the last shooting that occurred, but again, this idea, and I'll put it like this: I'm not foolish for anybody who thinks, oh, like, they're just out here killing people. ICE went into many cities. Okay. This is the first time it's escalated, and you have to wonder why. Okay. To this degree, right? Okay. So again, they had their operations in LA. They had the operations here in Chicago. So I was even like I actually drove past the facility at one point while they were out here in Chicago. Again, for the most part, again, people protested, and that's their right to protest. We're talking differently when you think you're just going to intervene and interrupt with the act, with the man, there's a word I'm looking for, but with the very action of the thing that they're conducting, I guess, you know, the action they're conducting. And to me, this is just reminiscent. Again, and I said this before, so it's not a surprise to me that this was, and I, you know, especially when I saw that how it was being cooked up to be. And I'm like, oh, they're gonna turn this into the next BLM riots, you know, from, you know, Trump's first term. And again, I say this just to state the facts. You know, this isn't a matter of a bias of opinion or anything of that. This is just truth. Anybody who has eyes, let them see. Anybody who has ears, let them hear. This is just the way things played out, right? And look, anybody can go back to my page. You know, when the things first kicked off, I was one of the people who bought into it at first, and I'm like, yo, you know, it's crazy how this George Floyd guy got killed, whatever. I was one of those guys, you know. A lot of those things that occurred even before George Floyd, you know, some of the other, you know, things that, you know, went south with police, law enforcement, you know, I was one of those guys that for sure wasn't on board with it and very critical of these things, and still am. Again, still am. But I guess, I don't know, the older you get, the more you analyze these situations, you open up your mind to perspectives, and I'm able to like get a bigger picture of things. Doesn't mean I'm not gonna still hold a standard and a, you know, a moral standard or a more ideal standard to the matter at hand, right? But the truth also matters, right? But I say this because, yeah, the moment I saw that the way this was being twisted and turned, it was obvious that what they're going to try and this is the next unrest, right? And I say this because I remember the first term, again, with all the BLM riots and everything that was happening, you know, when it came closer to the election, and you had all these, you know, people speaking on it, one of the reasons that some of the people that were anti-Trump was because they said, oh, he's divisive because look at this, look at the BLM, as if he really was the one who caused it, which was, again, when you really then look at that, I was like, wait, what? Like, again, someone who was first on board with the, you know, Black Lives Matter initially, right? Then when it obviously started coming out, well, what's really happening there? Then I was like, oh, hold on, you know. But the whole point is they concocted it as if, you know, it was his fault that all this unrest was happening. And it's like, well, you're putting it on the presidency based upon like what one cop did, you know, and then somehow people just bought into that, you know, bought into that idea, like, you know, oh, you know, there was this divisiveness, unrest, you know, and people didn't want that again, you know. And again, when I saw this happening with the, you know, that was being concocted with the whole migration thing, I knew that this was what they were going to try and do, and this is exactly what they've done. So it's you know, and it's I hate to say it because like I hate to sound like some sort of like, I don't know, I hate to sound like I'm just repeating something that you've probably heard somebody who's, I don't know, right wing or something say. But like I've said before, I don't affiliate with Republican or Democrat. Like that's not the way I see my. I think it's foolish to hold loyalty to party. So I consider myself an independent, and then whoever I see just speaking more truth, that's who's gonna get my, you know, or you know, be more honest about things, or maybe make a better point at something. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's that. You know, and I feel like things are good. Things are always good to be debated. I don't, you know, that's the whole purpose of this, right? Like we can all disagree and debate, and then whoever just has the stronger argument, well, you win until the next person comes up with something better, right? That's how this should be. Unfortunately, it's not, you know, and that's what's sad. But again, I'm saying that just to make it clear that what I'm pointing out right now is not coming from a place of like, oh, I'm diehard Republican, or even that I'm diehard Trump. You know, it's not about that. It's just about seeing things for what they are and how I see it. So again, I'm seeing this unfold, and that's clearly what this is meant to do. And it's just sad because people are losing their lives over it. And even when it comes to that, again, there's two things at play there. Either because again, it's not a either it is a coincidence that somehow these protesters are able to galvanize every time they need to galvanize, to foment unrest. And obviously you have the mouthpieces of the media that then push that narrative. I was even watching the news as I was watching the game today on CBS, and it was just crazy how they depict things, like they want to sear something. And again, most news media's outlets are guilty of this, right? Fox does it from time to time from their angle. So again, it's not. I'm not going to just pick on CBS. They both do it for the sides that they represent. One side though does it way more, and that's just what I've noticed. But all that to say that, again, there's more always to the picture than meets the eye. And as I've said before, do your due diligence, do your homework, and try not to let your biases get in the way of you being able to accept and receive something. Like I said before, man, if somebody can give me something that proves me wrong, I'm always the first one to admit it. Like even in real time, you've seen me have like how do you say not debates, but maybe disagreements with whoever I have on the panel or talking with me. And if they make a better point than what I thought, was better or a good point, and I see their way of the conversation or the discussion, I give it to them. It's weird because I just feel like people are not there anymore, or not. I don't know if they're there, but it's just you don't see a lot of them being honest about that. And before I keep going on about this, I'm gonna go ahead and bring the homie Silos made it. Oh, what is going on, bro? So obviously,
I just got your message, bro.
Yeah, no, you're good, bro. You're good.
Yeah, bro.
You're good, brother. I'm actually, now I'm actually more into the serious discussion of things.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have anything to say, and you might. I know we've actually had these kind of discussions too before, so you might have something to say about this.
Yeah.
But right now I'm kind of touching on the situation in Minnesota. Obviously that last shooting that just happened, and the person who lost their life. Forget their name. I think it was it Preddy? Yeah, Preddy. Again, my condolences to their families. Thoughts and prayers go out to you guys again, because none of this is nice. Nobody wants this, Yeah. But I was just sharing how personally I feel like the biggest thing or not the biggest thing, one of the biggest failures a lot of people have is everyone jumps to the quickest conclusion 9 times out of 10 based upon their biases, and what they want to hear, and if it feeds their narrative, what they want to believe to be true,
how
even
somebody
more
looks
so,
and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like boom, and then it's like, then by the time all this other information comes out, you're so engulfed in whatever you believe to be true, you don't even want to accept the new founding evidence, the new truth that just come out.
Everything sounds like a theory,
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about that.
Right, So my thing was just like, I'm just waiting for more information to come out with the latest situation, right? Because obviously I have to assume that there is a reason why they felt the need to shoot, the same way every other situation has been. Whether you like it or not, the ICE is doing whatever they're doing, and and that they were mandated to do that technically, right? Mm-hmm. They're only following orders. The reality is that in each of those shootings, it was deemed a threat, from the one with the car, the one with the shovel. And the point that I was making even further now was just, but if we're looking at the bigger picture, is none of this would be happening if there wasn't this fomented unrest by what looks like to be either one, well, let's just call that as it is. I would say the Democratic Party. It looks like they're, because even the way they speak on these things, right? It's almost as if they want there to be like tension, and then but they speak with like a double tongue, right? Like they'll say one thing,
double standard,
right? They'll be like, oh, peace, whatever, but then like still but we're gonna drive this message of hate and fear and fervor towards towards the opposition party, towards towards these operations taking place, and it's just like, whoa, like you guys are doing a disservice here. And then what's sadder about that, and this is, and I made this point even when it came to the things, or when ICE was in Chicago, and my advice was to many people in Chicago was like, you got your Democrat mayor here sounding off as if he's actually going to be there in the front lines fighting with you guys, and getting things there and doing something and getting willing to risk his own life, and he's not. He's safe in his ivory tower, along with every other politician, behind a screen, telling you that, oh, we feel for whatever, and stirring you up. But it's you guys going out there in the streets and getting hurt, and it's sad because it's like, I know some of you guys are probably being emotionally pulled and manipulated to do this. Some of you guys are probably just gun ho for the, left-leaning type mentality, maybe. I don't know what that, obviously everyone has their own reasons. And again, this is someone who's an independent, and I'm just calling it as it is. But you guys, obviously know I voted for Trump. I made that, I was honest about that. And up to this point, I'm personally not disappointed just yet. I'm still waiting to see what the effects are with the tariffs.
Yeah.
But the scariness that was supposed to come, that, they had us believe, they never came. And again, I'm glad I never believed it,
I never did either. And it goes right back to what you just said about the certain people or parties that are pushing these narratives. And it's like, yes, they want, oh, we want this type of peace. We want this, we want to, and it's more like a rally than it is a peace, like wanting thing, like it's always pushing a certain narrative. And if it's like, I want peace, but I want peace the way I want it. And if it's not this way, then we all have to riot. And that's just like, that's not a place of freedom that people should want to live in. Like it's crazy to see, even in this time. And I'm 30 now, so I've lived through the Bush, I lived through Obama, I lived through Trump. So, and I know it was a lot of different times going through that. And me being 30 years old, I feel like, and I guess because, with everything we do with the industry when it comes to movies and all this stuff, like when somebody's playing you, like it's kind of crazy to see how some people are just so blind to it.
Right.
And I mean, people like us, like, I guess, and I say people like us because, like I said, we're kind of privy to seeing this on social media every day. Right. And it's just like, it's just really, really crazy how blind trust a lot of these people have in certain people. And it's just like, and again, like, I'm kind of like you, like, I'm not saying, oh yeah, this side's right, this side's wrong. Like it's funny. And I, I hate to turn this back to a Zack Snyder situation, but it's like, even with that, it's like, there are certain rumors that have been out there. And it's like, oh, Warner Brothers called Zack in case Gunn's thing, doesn't work with Supergirl. And it's just like, when you really think about it, it's like, that could be a truth and a lie at the same time. Because Warner Brothers probably did hit him up, but really, was it if Gunn failed, or was it to work with Gunn? For this bigger plan. So it's like, you never truly know. Right. So yeah, it's crazy to me because I feel like we're at a state in this time where it's like, everything that's said on the news, you have to look at it like I'll choose to believe what you're saying here, but really, I don't know if I want to choose to believe that. Right. And it's to me, that's just kind of crazy because it feels like there's no order, like there's just a shift, So
no, that's right. That was a good analogy because that's exactly right. And this is the crazy part about media, right? Like, it's like, you have to like take everything in with a grain of salt, or at the very least, take in what you hear, but then do your due diligence to like look further into it.
Yeah.
You know, to see like, all right, how real is this? What's what's being said and things of that nature. You know, I mean, look, man, the internet is one hell of a tool, man. So like nobody's really got an excuse here. That's the crazy part. You know, all you got to do is do the research, man. I will say this: it's sad because again, it's none of this needs to be happening. You know, that's the crazy part. And no, not because like, well, yeah, if ICE leaves and ICE doesn't, like, I know that's what you guys would want for some weird reason. You know, and I say weird because if we're being honest, this isn't the first time deportations happen. This also happened during the Obama administration. I remember that vividly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember the camps and the cages during the Obama administration. Nobody was saying anything then. You know what I'm saying? Like
it's sad because a lot of people who sit there and they're like, oh, this is the worst thing in the world. They're the number one people who are defending everything that happened then. And it's just like, just because it's not out front and they can't build a reel, or they can't build something to like for propaganda, you know, whatever it may be. It's like now you want to just show focus on it. And it's just like how you just said, this is something that's been happening even before I was born.
Yes.
And, you know, again, I say I'm 30 years old. So that just kind of puts in perspective, like this is something that's been happening for decades. And now just because it's a guy you don't like. And again, I'm not here saying that I love Trump or I don't love Trump. I voted for Trump personally. But again, when he has been in office, me personally, as a business owner, as a, you know, a guy, I've seen the success in it. You know, again, not to take anything away from what Obama's done. I think that was a great feat. He did his time. He did his thing. And but with all the good, there was also the bad. Same thing as we are here. So it's like it's a trend that's like it doesn't stop. And man, it's just really crazy because these are conversations that I'm starting to see. And you know, honestly, as I'm getting older now.
Yeah, exactly. That's true, because I remember as a young kid, this wasn't really in my zeitgeist. You know what I mean?
Or even if it was, and this is something that I had to wake up from, you know, growing up, is that growing up, you would just do like what your parents did or what everybody at school was talking about because their parents were doing it. So then you felt like the odd man out because you weren't doing this. But then when you started doing your research, as you're saying, you're starting to see like, hey, I really don't care what Jimmy from down the block is voting for because I don't trust what that guy is doing, you know? So it's like, you know, it's that matter of everyone needs to, you see this right here? They need to go like this and put it down and actually do their own due diligence when it comes to doing research. Right. And it's just, we're at that point where it's just people would rather just let computers tell them what to do. So, you know. Right.
No, for sure. It's unfortunate, man, because again, none of this needs to be happening. It frustrates me because I know none of this needs to be happening, and I'm talking about all of it, not just what just occurred, not just the shootings. Honestly, I was as a man of faith, it for sure upsetted me when I saw the images of them storming into a church. Yep. You know, I'm like, yo, what in the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, it's I guess it didn't surprise me either because I'm like, well, you know, the boundaries have been getting pushed there, like little by little, you know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by that is like, what comes to my mind is like when the protests decided to like show up at one of the Supreme Court judges' houses, you know what I'm saying? And they were protesting out in front of his, like that's illegal, but somehow nothing was done or said. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you think about even the times when you'll see like a politician at an establishment, like a dining establishment with just family, or you know, and then being protested against by some weird activist. You know what I'm saying? During just private dinner time with family. You know, So it's like, the needle was being pushed. So like, I guess it doesn't surprise me, but this is just kind of like beyond that, I guess, because it's like, I guess, yeah, even the restaurant thing is kind of like an example of that, right? Because it's like, though it's public, it's still a private affair though, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm at my table with my family. I'm not in the business of whoever's sitting across, you know what I'm saying? It's still a private affair. But that still doesn't hold the same type of reverence or seriousness as something as church, a place of worship, a place of prayer, and just disrupting the service. You know what I'm saying? That to me is just crazy. That's the equivalent of just going into somebody's home, you know what I mean, and trying to protest them in their own home. That's how I felt about that. And then the way they even tried to like excuse it, because it's like, first off, and not even just them, but even like people online that were trying to like defend it, that's like, are any of you guys even Christian, or do you guys even like?
I don't even think that matters anymore, because it's more about pushing their narrative.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Or the people,
right, and that's what I'm trying to get at, though. It's like you can tell a few of them aren't even Christian. Yeah. And this has been a thing for a while now, right? Like you would always have like let's just say, let's just say somebody that identifies me as a Christian, right? And I guess, I believe in Christ, so like I guess that'll be that, right? Yeah. And let's just say, you'd always have that guy that, let's just say, if I don't know, I swear, like I started swearing a bit, because I was excited. And then they're like, oh, that's not Christian of you, like, like something like that, like, and so you always had that, is my whole point, right? Like people that aren't, you're like, well, dude, you're not even Christian, so like, why does it even matter to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, like, and what would you know, right? Or even like when it came to like a lot of those,
I think you just hit that on the nose so well. I'm sorry I know you're rolling. It's just like, I feel like that's just how everything is in this life now. That's like, they're so focused on like how you mess up instead of like people just saying. Growing up, my teacher used to tell me this all the time. My dad especially loves telling me all the time. Every time you go like this to somebody, or let me get the camera right like this, how many fingers do you have pointing back at you?
Right.
You got 3. So it's like you're so focused on what that next person is doing. It's like you don't know my relationship with God. You don't know if I had to go through hell and back to go get to where I'm at to with him. So the way 100%. I talk to him and how I relay my message and my practices to him, that's between me and him. And it's just like people that whole, and this goes with social media, this goes with everything. It's like people don't know the boundaries. Everything does not have to be recorded. Everything does not have to be at this platosphere. Like, I don't want to know what you're doing on the toilet, man. Like, keep that to yourself. Like it's no boundaries. Sil, and I bring him up every stream. I bring him up every stream. But his famous saying is go outside and touch some grass. Right. And it's just like they don't do that anymore. They're too busy going.
For sure.
It's crazy.
It is. That's right. No, that's where everybody's hyper focused, always on negative things and wanting to like be in everybody's like personal business. It's a weird part of the culture that we're in. But there's just moments like this where it's like even this crosses that line. You know what I mean? Like where it's like, all right, hold on. And like I said, it was just weird to see the people trying to defend it. You know what I'm saying? Like I guess that's what took me off guard. That's just, I didn't expect people to like actually defend that, like that it was okay to just go into that church. You know what I mean? But then again, it dawned on me that, there was always people like that, right? That are, quick to, especially again, and not especially if you're Christian, but I guess in my experience as somebody who was raised, as a Christian, and I say that loosely, right? Like, loosely in the sense of like, I know that, I'll put it like this. I know that there's even amongst believers, there's debates of Christian, is it Christianity? Is it, is it this, is it that, whatever, whatever.
Yeah, it's a different, it's almost like the way I see it and the way I describe it to people is everyone, because I believe in God as well. Right. I grew up, I went to church, the Catholic church. I got my communion, my confirmation, all that stuff. Right. But dealing with meeting different people, networking with different people, I've learned that it's the belief system is almost like a genre of music.
Yeah.
Like you have your salsa side, I have my R&B side, but the overall goal, the overall belief that there is a higher power, there is someone there, that is still strong. So it's like, even with that, I feel like that's a whole nother.
Yeah, and that's why I say it loosely. But loosely. I guess to the average person, they'd probably identify me as a Christian because I do believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior.
Right.
But again, even from that standpoint, I just, in my experience, which is funny, man, like growing up, even like raised in that, I remember like even that had connotations of like negative in the sense of like, oh, you're a Bible thumper, or, there was like, nicknames or like, kids would pick on you for, whatever, like for going to church or believing in God, or whatever. And, but anyways, the point I'm trying to make is that it was even interesting to see people that are of the faith online trying to defend what happened and saying that, oh, well, because this is what Christ wants too. This is what Christ would fight for, and it's like wrong. Like you're wrong. This actually isn't the fight he would fight for. In fact, I'm convinced you don't read the Bible, because I'm like, nowhere in the Gospels.
Real quick though, like I don't even think it's that.
Yeah,
it's so the message of God, the Bible, and again, this is me reading it. I'm actually just rereading it. I picked up this awesome thing called Action Bible. It's a comic book, and it goes through the whole. They have an audio book for it and everything, so you could listen to it while you're reading it. It's amazing. It goes through the Old Testament and the New Testament.
Nice.
And I mean, what I believe in this is that it's not for you to say, and I'm talking in general.
Yeah, the general public.
It's not for you to say what God's message was. For me, I feel like God, obviously the Bible has been changed time and time, or it's been updated and stuff like that. Yeah, but that is his message for you to live by. Not to, again, we have preachers, we have this to preach his message, but not to inflict what you believe is his message. If that makes sense.
So I believe that to a certain degree. I won't say. I will say, I don't think the Bible is open to interpretation.
Yeah.
As because that's actually how you wind up with the fringe end of things, right? Like, people right now that think, oh yeah, no, Jesus would do this because they've loosely interpreted something that they actually thought was true. Probably because they were loosely told, like, oh yeah, Jesus was a rebel in his time, or Jesus fought for the cause, he fought for the, and it's like, really though? Did he though? Like when you biblically, when you're reading the Bible, when you're reading the story written, that was it records his story. Right? When you actually read that, does it actually say that? And you find out, no, actually not really. Like and this is and I'll just end it on this point, to for those that actually think that for some weird reason. When Jesus gets taken by the Pharisees, which was a religious sect of the Jews, and the people, to the Roman guy who was in power of that region or of that territory, they found nothing against him. Like no Roman law was broken, and that's, people need to understand this. Though they were in Israel, Bethlehem, whatever, all these areas, Roman law is what ruled the land. Okay, and The Jewish laws, which were more like religious laws, were like sub laws to that. Okay. The crazy part is he wasn't found guilty against Roman law nor against religious law, other than the fact that they tried to say he was blaspheming for saying he was the son of God. But context matters, right? So when you're looking at the fact that he wasn't found guilty against Roman law, means he didn't do anything to go against the Roman Empire. You know what I'm saying? Which is the way they like
laws,
break laws to do so. Even though they could have, right? Because the Jews or the Israelites were oppressed by the Roman Empire, and he chose to, and in fact, he's the other one where, and it's probably the most common thing when for those who go to church, and that the preaching of like you follow the law, whatever, as long as it doesn't impede against your own laws, against the laws of God. But when they try to get him about the taxes, right? Like, who does money belong? And I'm kind of paraphrasing, but and he says, okay, well, whose face is on the denarii or the coin? And they're like, Caesar's. And he's like, all right, well, yeah, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, right? And then give unto God what is God's. So we got pinned in the comment section. He says, CeeLo with the haircut, he fresh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But so all that to say that, the man did not break the laws. He didn't go up against the Roman Empire the way people would have you believe, like he was some sort of rebel of his time or some sort of activist. No, he wasn't an activist. He was just a man speaking the truth. Spreading the truth of God, the truth of the relationship with the Father, the truth about the laws and the truth. And the only people he was actually, if you're trying to say he rebelled against or that he had some sort of rebel, I don't know, I guess, reaction to, was the religious zealots of the time. It was the Pharisees he was going up against, but not because they were religious, but because they were wrong in their religion, right? Because they were lying to the people, and that's what he was exposing to them. But it was on a faith-based factor, not a political factor. That's what I'm trying to get at here. For you people that are trying to make it seem like this is what Christ would do, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to others. Christ didn't fight political fights. In fact, he said, don't waste your time with that. What's more important is spreading the gospel, spreading my love. And it's even said in other moments by the apostles and stuff, like to not waste time in that. So no, Christ didn't fight political fights. His concern was just spreading the salvation of Christ, or the salvation that comes through him. That was his mission. That's it. He says, I blame you. I mean,
I do too, man. After rereading this Bible, man, it's like, why'd you eat the apple? He specifically told you to eat the apple. Don't eat it. And she's like, oh, well, I was curious. Well, don't be. Don't be. The one time we ask you, what do you want to eat? And you can't tell us what you want to eat. Like, come on now.
Oh, shoot.
Let me stop.
Let's not. We don't need.
I had a flashback. Sorry, I had a flashback. I'm sorry. Oh man.
No, but I mean, all that to say that it's just crazy to see just how people, I guess, I'm baffled sometimes. Just like, man, like, again, I see how people are emotionally manipulated with these things, and just buy into things, and it's like, man, hold on, like, do your research. Like, no, Christ wouldn't have you out here acting a fool and getting yourself shot, or he wouldn't be okay with intervening with a church service where they're there to worship him and pray to him and seek him. And you think that he's more concerned with political affairs? You think he would want the Roman Empire to just bust into the temple that, like wake up and smell the coffee? No, like, there's no way that's crazy.
It's crazy though, because I feel like, again, just like talking about this whole, like, everybody wants their viral moment. and it's not even about pushing the message anymore. It's more about like, I read this, I saw this, and I may have, like you said, I may have heard something, but I need to, I need to say something. I need to make something crazy.
Yeah.
And then it gets to a point where it's out of their own control.
Right.
And they're like, well, I didn't even mean it like that. And it's just like, yeah, but it's how you phrase and how you say certain things,
right,
that you never know who's listening. And the
That's
truth
right.
is everyone's always listening. So,
yeah, especially now. And yeah, like Pin says, Facebook is not researching.
No, not at all.
It's really
not at all.
It could send you in a direction to start researching, but it's not researching.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and all I want to say is just like, man, can we? I just wish people were more honest about things. I just feel like, and when and I'll say this, I might be saying that a little too harshly. I think, yeah, some people might honestly believe what they believe, but can I just ensure, for those who believe that that whatever you believe is true or honest, then all I can ask is, can you at least please be open to the fact that there may be more to the picture than what you're perceiving?
Yeah.
And that's all I ask, because
I think also a good thing to add to that
Yeah.
is having this moment right here.
Yeah.
Being able to have these conversations. I feel like the people and in general here, it's stuff that even I have to, learn within myself, is that we're so privy to, like, we believe in one thing and it's just like, I don't want to hear nobody else's ideas or a good example when it comes to movies wise, like, I like this and I'm only going to like this, but
right.
If this person says, hey, I like this, but I also like this, shun that person. Anything he says is a lie.
Right.
And it's just like that's, for one, that's not healthy as a society, a place where this right now, and I'm speaking only for the United States, is where I live.
Right.
We're supposed to be a country of freedom. And you mean to tell me I can't say how I feel about a certain movie because you don't like that? Then how is that initiating that freedom?
Exactly. No, that's right. That's 100% true. And hence why this is why I do the Chop Shop.
Right.
Because I want us to be able to discuss opinions that we agree on and disagree on.
Right.
And I think that's what we all need to, like, get back to a place of that. I don't know. There's always going to be, it seems like the fringe people just keep growing. I guess that's what it looks like to me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the way that things are just perceived social media-ly. And I'll say that, like, okay, let me actually say that. On social media, that's what it would appear like. I'm going out on the street. None of this is really being discussed or occurring, like, but just looking on social media, it's like you would definitely think that just the fringe keeps growing, right? Like
the thing I've learned about that is negativity is great when it comes to social media. They really push that because nobody wants to see us having a good old time, having a great time with friends,
right?
Unless we're celebrities.
Yeah.
One day me and you, we will be there. So but
I like that.
But the truth is if it's just us normally, they don't want to see us happy. They don't want to see us just enjoying time with the family, going out to a new restaurant. No, they want to see us in that negative space of, I want to just complain about everything. And then that one thing I've learned in life is that negativity loves company. Misery loves company. So when you get that one person, even if we don't want to be in that mindset, we see, even if it's 5 seconds of a reel on social media, and we're stuck on that, and that's that icky feel. It ruins your day. That's why even me personally, I've learned in the morning when I wake up, I throw my phone on the charger and I go for a walk. I read a book or something, because it got to a point where as soon as I would wake up, I just want to check my messages, check my emails, whatever. And I'll open up, or let's say I want to scroll through Instagram, and it's like you get 5 bad reels on that first scroll and your whole day is over with. And it's just we need to start getting that. I think we spoke about this last time I was on here.
We did.
That mental one-on-one.
Yes.
People need to get back to doing that, man. Like, just talk
no,
to 100%.
That's right. I mean, look, the reality is even myself, these past couple of weeks, I've been intentional on like waking up, and my first focus personally for myself, is that I am trying to build a relationship with God. So my first thing is like I'm praying when I wake up, and I'm just trying to connect with God immediately. Like, I'm just trying to make that my focus, and then after I'm done praying, if I have even more time on my hands, again, before doing anything else, I try and pick up the Bible, get back into my word. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to feed myself spiritually, and but at the same time, just also show God that I'm invested into my relationship with Him too. Like, that I want to make sure He knows that I'm, that I view Him as an important part of my life. So that's how I've been starting my days recently. And if I feel better about it, I'm a bit more at peace with how things move forward for me, there's like more clarity for me, and then like once I'm like, I think spiritually set, and then it's like I'm able to like, open up my, I guess, the window to my soul, my eyes, as the Bible says, the eyes are the windows to your soul. But then I'm able to like see, okay, what's out there, what's going on, whether it's, movies or sports or, news related. But yeah, because like, dude, the same way I used to do the same thing. Like I'd wake up and immediately phone, phone. All right, phone, whether it was like social media or some stupid mobile game that I'm stuck on, So, all right, we got the Bunk said in the chat. He says, "Hi, who's Tis?"
Who's Tis?
Well, right there, El Divino Vega and Silos, brother. So yeah, it's you're right. It's we got to learn to like disengage from social media. People are just so attached to it. And again, I'm not saying to completely cut it off. I'm just saying like, find yourself first, or more importantly, if I'm, from my perspective, is, find yourself in God, you know what I mean, and find that, because when I tell you, like, there's just more clarity that comes from that. Man, appreciate it, the Bunk set.
Yeah, appreciate
you. Appreciate you, brother. Then if you start your day like that, man, I'm telling you, it's just different. It's just different,
And to your point, it's not just, we say social media because that's so prevy, but it's with anything in life. So it's like it's always good to have that healthy balance.
Yes, let yourself breathe, because you're right. We're using social media, but technically, again, like I said, it could even, there was a moment in time where it was a mobile game on my phone. You know what I'm saying? It was a moment in time where it was like, I wake up and I'm just playing PlayStation right away, watching movies right away, like whatever it is, so hyperly focused on that, doesn't necessarily allow you to focus in on yourself, and again, like I said, for me, you can probably barely hear us. How about now, brother? I mean, I'm kind of away from my mic, and I shouldn't be, because I got my space heater on, dude. It's cold over here in Chicago.
Hey, man, be easy out there. That black ice stuff is not is not good.
It is cold out here, dog.
Yeah. You're not driving, are you?
No.
Man, it's been crazy, man. I've seen some crazy stuff.
Luckily put me in a position where I haven't been traveling these past couple of days.
Nice.
So yeah, I'll take that. But yeah, no, it's still cold out here, bro. It's crazy. It has. I don't know if it's that it hasn't been this cold in a minute, or it's just, the change of seasons kind of has you just forget however the last season was,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, dude, it's cold out. It's cold out here. But yeah, that being said, I need to speak more into my mic. You might not be able to hear me because of my space heater.
You sound good on my end.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that being said, yeah, dude, it's starting your day right, what I'm saying, always makes a difference. So yeah, like that's how I start my day, dude. And then again, if I even have more time, workout, I try and get some physical workout in, man. So that I'm spiritually and physically, and even mentally, like just preparing myself and, you know, just getting myself right. He says it's 1.24 right now, and I think my dad's awake. Well, you know, be careful then. Be careful then. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, brother. So, anyways, and what else? What else is crazy out here right now, man? I don't know. I guess that's probably rounds that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, shout out to. I will say this: shout out to the Peace Board, the newly founded Peace Board. I don't know if you saw that.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so apparently, you know, the whole World Economic Forum in Davos just took place.
Okay.
And I think Trump assigned this new Peace Board of like made up of different like people and leaders and nations that are already signed on to it.
Okay.
Almost like, I don't know if he's like recreating his own NATO type thing. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly, I still have to actually listen into the speeches that were said, but I did see that out there. I was wondering if you saw some of that. God be with you too, brother. And likewise to you. Hope you have a good day. But yeah, you know, so that's kind of crazy. Are you? Here's something to ask about that. Because how deep are you? I guess into the conspiracy theories, you know, that are kind of like conspiracy theories that you've heard already, but then like I guess mixed with like biblical prophecy, right? And I say that because obviously, you know, for the longest time we're discussing, you know, or there's this idea of a cabal, right? Like there's got to, you know, like the power players in the world that, you know, there's always been that conspiracy theory, and then for a long time it was that it was the World Economic Forum, right? Like all these rich guys coming together trying to dictate what the world needs to do, and that's going to be like the new world order. Yeah. Which is why, again, the Peace Board thing was kind of funny to see, because it's kind of like a smack in the face to that. If you guys were going to be the new world order, like it's not happening. But so I don't know, like, are you one of those? Like, do you believe in that? Do you think there's that new world order, one world government thing that'll come into play at one point, or?
I would say I did at one point.
Okay.
But I kind of. I didn't allow myself to get to that far, because I know that goes to a rabbit hole that once you get in it, it's hard to get out of.
Yeah.
And I know with life, it's like there's so many other things I got going on right now. But yeah, there was a time, and it also was what I noticed was people I was hanging around with, and the certain conversations that we're having, that it was just like when I was around. I didn't like how I really felt about it, because it made me question even things that I was doing for myself. And at times, and to be, you know, transparent and everything, I was also very like I would question a lot of the stuff I started to read in the Bible, or when I go to church, and then I even started thinking to myself, like, you know, if this theory or this conspiracy ends up being true, why am I wasting my time doing this? Or,
right,
you know, why am I going here today? You know, it's like, you start to second guess, should I really go today?
Right.
And I felt like in my head, you know, I spoke to my dad, spoke to my mom about this, and my pastor. And it's when I knew I had to dig more deep in, and I was like, all right, now I got to start not eliminating, just rearranging myself around certain people. You know, again, I don't wish anybody harm. I don't wish anybody any bad. It's just some places you're just not meant to be at that time, as I guess is the plainest way I can put it.
Right.
So, but yeah, there was a time where I did, and I'm actually very glad that I'm not a part of that space anymore. So
yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you. There is this like you said, it can just lead you down a hole of questioning everything, you know, and then it becomes like, well, what is all this for then?
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, I agree. I personally, in my opinion, I try not to dig too deep into those. Actually, I really don't dig deep into conspiracy theories. I keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Right? Because again, there are things that kind of seem like they are parallel with biblical prophecy, but just like coming across some new information, it was crazy to like find out, you know, and shout out to my dad, you know, that guy, you know, you talk about knows the Bible, you know,
Yeah.
that's him, you know. So and you know, still preaching the word. I mean, I'm always, you know, you guys, if you guys follow me, you know, I'm always sharing his little you know, preaching segments and things that he's always sharing online. But he like recently shared this like revelation where it was like the book of Revelation talks about 10 different kings that will work with the Antichrist, which I thought was interesting because I'm like, oh, okay, like, and the point he was making that kind of debunks this idea of a one world government, because there's going to be 10 different kings, which means there's 10 different kingdoms. So
right.
That's not one world government, that's regions. So what he was actually sharing, which he's like, he thinks more realistically, it's like, you know how right now Trump, or at least the administration, we're looking at our hemisphere, and it seems like we're really kind of like trying to tighten the control on our hemisphere, you know, like even to like now we're trying to purchase Greenland. He believes that's that coming to fruition, like it's going to be regions, like, you know, coming together to be, you know, like
one whole.
Yeah, not, you know, one whole, you know, like, but like that kingdom or government, whatever. But like, it ain't gonna be one world government. It's gonna be, you know, different governments, and yeah, maybe all at one point
will answer to one, but
yeah, you know what I mean. Which kind of is the case now, right? Like, it's not different, you know. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. I guess it's realizing, like, well, isn't that kind of what it is right now, or what it kind of always was, right? There's always what is looked like as like the imperial power of the world, and though there are these other nations, that one nation is still like the go-to, you know what I mean?
In other words, it'll be more controlled is where you're getting at now. It'll be more of a I guess that is kind of, I kind of just lost my train of thought, but like that, like in a sense like that, like a king who owns like like the Round Table. There you go. That's what I was gonna say, like the Round Table, but you're just all in that line. I don't know why, but the picture in my head, the old school Adam West Batman film comes in when they're all in the in that office and they become sand. When we talk about that, that's I always that scene always comes to my head.
Oh yeah. But no, that's something like that, I guess, you know. But I thought that was interesting when I heard him say that. I'm like, man, okay. So
which is definitely possible.
Definitely possible, right? That's the thing, you know. But then it's like, oh, okay, so man, these things are kind of coming to fruition, you know. So it's like, all right, well, kind of even furthers my fire, I guess you could say, to make sure, you know, I am seeking God, and you know, that's like how do you say, something of importance in my life, you know. So you know, and I think even sharing that, you know what I'm saying, like and it's kind of like been on my heart for a while too. Like, I'm like, man, I kind of really do want to make sure I'm sharing that constantly, you know, because truthfully that is important to me too, you know, like my faith, you know, Christ, you know, like what does it look like that if I believe, I guess, that let's just say if my belief is that Christ is my Lord and Savior, right, and that I have to believe in him to be saved, like, doesn't that sound like it's kind of crazy that I wouldn't share that? Like, what does that say about me? You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
hey,
it's like having the answers to all the tests, but you don't want to share it with your friends.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. You know, so I'm like, man, I really got to get to a point where I'm like, you know, speaking on that more, because it's like that is what I believe. You know, that is important to me, and So it should be important for me to also make sure that, hey, I share that salvation with others, which full circle to bring it back to something that we both can talk about, I guess, more fervently.
Yeah.
And that goes back to my reason to why I believe Zack Snyder needs to come back and do Man of Steel, or do Superman, because I feel and again, I've said this before. Take care, Debunk Set, man. We'll see you Tuesday, brother.
Yeah.
All love, man. But what I guess gets to me there is just, again, it's that I don't know if Zack does this intentionally or if he's just being used. But when you look at the story arc,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like, and that's why, I one of my things that I pushed, that I was pushing on our discussion last week, about Superman and that how he's the messianic figure, right? But I just feel like, Zack Snyder like crystallized that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like he zoomed in on that aspect and the parallels that exist within the story written that give that story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Sent
from Crypt. And again, it's not. This is all Superman story, right? Like that's obviously, for those who don't know, the creators of Superman were Jewish. Yeah. So, it's no secret.
That relationship, that tie that you mentioned of God and and
the
Jesus,
biblical corpus,
of
sorts that is resembled in I guess the comics. And even on a further note, what I will say is what's crazy to me is I would even wonder if, obviously in mythology we see characters with powers, gods and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. But when you look at even like the comics, right, and the powers displayed by these heroes, right, like they are godlike, right, like the speedster, all power, Athena, all these kind of things, right? But what's interesting about this, though, is that they weren't gods, right? And here's what I'm trying to get at. What was crazy to me about this one time when I was thinking about this is that in comics, these characters aren't, there are characters that are gods, right? Or demigods, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're just human beings that either by accident or by intervention or something, boom, powers bestowed upon thee, whatever, right?
Yeah.
What I find interesting about that, though, is that to me, even that holds more truth to biblical kind of stories.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure you now reading this Action Bible that you're saying you're reading that now actually has a more comic, probably even see that even more, right? And I say this because in the Bible, there's stories of people with powers resembling that of like
Moses is one of them too.
Yeah, Moses is one of them, right?
He was chosen.
You know what I'm saying? Being chosen. But even like when you look at the miracles they did, from even when you there's a certain prophet, I think it's Elijah or Elisha, I don't remember which one of them, that apparently had super speed. And he was able to run as fast as those that were on horses by the power. You know what I'm saying? So like super speed was already a thing.
Yeah.
You feel me? You got Samson, right? Super strength, right? And that aspect, right? You get to prophets that are able to like Moses split the sea and do this and do that, you know what I'm saying? All these different powers, transcend the weather, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All through the power of God, right? And then you get to like Jesus, where he's able to heal the dead, that he like raise the dead, bring them back to life, heal, right? Transport through, through walls, you know what I'm saying? Like Kitty Pryde, type stuff, you got forget the other guy's name. There's one of the apostles who teleports, by the power of God. And you got characters in the comics that can teleport, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know, like I wondered to myself, like, is that like where that comes from. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder. You know?
I mean, I wouldn't see how it cannot, and I feel like we're starting to get to a place to where like we have these situations, like how I'm reading now, the Action Bible, where it's like I feel like you take out something like that back then, I don't think it hits the same as it does now, because that is what the world of superhero is now. You know, like we're trying to even with Thor. You know, it's the same thing. You know, one of my favorite lines in the Flash, and I know people don't like that movie, but I love that movie.
No, I like it. I have my things against it, but overall I did like it. I was entertained by it.
Bruce tells Barry that the lightning, he didn't choose it chose him. You know, that's such a big, you know, thing on what you're saying here, on how many of these people, they're not gods, but they were chosen to
yes.
I'm going to be careful on how I say this, but I guess they were chosen to I guess push the word of God, or to resemble that of a god, but not over I guess take over as a god, if that makes sense.
Not be God.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah,
there's only one God, you know.
Yeah,
no, exactly. No, that's right. 100%. No, that's great, and that's perfect. And even I like that conversation. It's dope, because then you think about even like their origins and why it's important, right? And again, this goes back to that conversation a little, like why the origins do matter, right? Because they are telling us something, you know. But like how, you know, then they reflect even on Bruce's parents, and I like that part of that conversation, you know, because it's like, well, that happened, and now you are who you are, you know. But like, obviously, you probably would still rather have your parents, you know.
No, yeah.
But
that goes back to, again, like how we said in this stream, how you had to go through what you had to in order to get to that place with God.
That's right.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah.
So yeah, man, I find that's what I find interesting a lot about these comic book stories, is they're somewhat like their own versions of biblical stories. You know what I'm saying? Just without being so biblical, but I feel like personally in my mind, or I guess in my heart, I just want to, feel it's important to point that out. Like, this, you know, like in the same reason I feel like why I like what Zach did with the Superman arc in his is because I can look at those movies and point towards the story that it's actually resembling or embodying, you know, and say, hey, if you like this, if this story is compelling to you, of this man sent to Earth to save you, you know, and then who's willing to die for you, comes back to life, you know, saying to save you again.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a fictional story, or it's not, you know, saying, it's not fictional. It's actually just that guy exists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's Jesus for you, you know. So again, that's why for me, that's the importance to storytelling. When it comes to, especially again, like these comic book stories, and you know, even more so like Zack Snyder, you know, and the work he did, and what I hope he can come back to do. But it's these stories that matter, because again, not that it just has to point to Jesus, but even like me being a believer, the biblical teachings that are in the Bible that teach you to be good, you know, that teach you how to love. And when you have these stories that kind of embody this, you know, saying the same message, even if it's not necessarily from the Bible, but I can look at it and say like, well, it's also biblical, but
it shows the basic morals.
Yeah. And you're learning something. At least I have hope that you're learning something. And that's why that matters. That's why for me, it is a problem if I see a story that isn't necessarily doing that, you know, whether it's in a movie or in a book or in a cartoon or whatever. When I see that, you know, the focus is on more entertainment than, I guess you could say, compelling narrative, you know. You know, that's why that kind of does bother me a bit, because it's like, oh man, like it's you know, it's, I mean, again, I do like entertainment for entertainment's sake, but I feel like there's a medium for all those things, right?
Yeah.
And or maybe even, let's say, side characters that you can do that with. I'd rather you, like, you know, take serious someone like Thor, you know what I'm saying? Like, not do the whole Thor Love and Thunder thing, and where it's like a,
man,
you know, so
I could say right now, that movie, I took my dad to see it in the theater.
Yeah.
And not even halfway through the movie, we're both looking at each other like, what are we doing here? Like, that movie was, man, I wanted to bash my head against that wall so badly. It was yeah.
Oh, there was so much potential there, brother. But but yeah, man, you know, okay. Well, unfortunately, I do have to bring this to an end. I can't have a long stream this time around. We got to get back on because there was so many sports talk things that we had to discuss.
Sports talk, Zach talk. There was a lot of Zach talk.
You know what I'm saying? So again, I touched on it a little bit, you know, obviously prior to you hopping on. Again, you just happened to hop on once I got to the serious political stuff, whatever. But I did promise that I was going to keep this, keep this one short. And honestly, low key, I think what I'm going to try and do going forward, and hopefully I can set this up in a more concrete way going forward, but probably just having separate days to
talk about certain topics.
Talk about certain topics so that there's enough time to discuss all these things.
Yeah.
So we'll see, you know, God willing, hopefully that works out. As of right now, unfortunately, you know, I'm hopping on when I can, and Sundays seem to be like one of those days that just allow me, you know, that time. And it seems that seems to be the time that I can get you guys on too. You know, it's kind of hard to get you guys on throughout the week. But yeah, other than that, brother, I will say this. Promote what you have going on. Obviously, I see you still dropping music, brother. I'm loving it.
I actually just dropped tonight. It's a Valentine's Day album. It's 3 songs. It's called Just for the Night. Me and my team are working closely with Spotify. They put us on a Valentine's Day playlist on there. But my actual album, Just for the Night, is on all platforms. I'm kind of fighting with Apple right now because it was supposed to drop at midnight and it's still not showing my album. But
I hate when they do that, man.
Yeah, it's getting there. But yeah, it is on YouTube. It's on Spotify. You can probably see it on TikTok, Instagram on there too.
I'm gonna try and share it so people can know what they're looking for.
Appreciate it.
No, for sure, brother, for sure.
But yeah, man, we've been doing that. I have a music video shoot coming out pretty soon this in February. We got everything set up, so yeah, man, it's exciting. That was me chefing it up. Here, if you want, I'll put in the I'll put in the YouTube here. Let me see.
Let's do that for now. Yeah, because I want to make sure people listen in. Also, go check out the song "Gone," dope video with Clue Rock, Words, and Shy Tone. If you haven't checked it out, AQ Run It Back on the mix. They just released a video for that, guys. I want to make sure I shout them out. Follow the great creators. Also, they're doing just tremendous things. Just saw one of his commercials he did for this, like I think it was like not cigar, like a whiskey or liquor company. It was pretty dope. Okay, here we go. So that's the link, guys, for the song that just dropped. Check it out. Again, he's got other music too. What's the artist page?
That link right there will send you straight to the artist page.
Okay,
it's Silos RTP Legacy. So
okay, bet. But,
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you heard that. Check him out. Again, Il Divino Vega. You can check out my music on all streaming platforms as well. There's more to come.
We're going to be working soon.
And we are going to be working soon. That's right. That's right. So that being said, though, for those of you guys that tuned in, again, much love. Appreciate you guys. Remember, the Chop Shop is a place that we can all discuss things. So whether you agree or disagree with me, let me know. Again, I'm not going to take none of this personal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you see me have discussions with those that I, sometimes disagree with, and we get along just fine. you know.
Yeah, trust with John Harbaugh and Lamar,
yeah. Oh man, no, but again, just appreciate you guys for hopping on. And for those that actually did participate with us in the comment section, even on Facebook, seeing you guys, the love you guys showed over there. Appreciate you guys. Silos, until next time, brother. If I can get you on
anytime,
again,
man. Yeah, man. Anytime. I'll try to be more on time. All right, man.
No, all good, brother. Appreciate you. Much love. God bless, guys. Much love.
I want you to stand up tall and proud. I want you to speak up clear and loud. Brown baby.
Pensando cómo lo puedo lograr, cómo lo puedo hacer, cómo cuido a mi mamá y también a mi bebé. Solo tengo que josear y eso ya me lo sé. Hay días que despierto sin ánimo, pero me tengo que motivar, que nadie te va a ayudar, que no lo vaya a lograr. Eso dicen los demás, para el carajo los demás, que aquí pues se les va a enseñar. Aquí les caigo y les traigo un talento que lo dejan bien pálido. Se sorprendieron, algunos dijeron que estos son para los que sí tienen talento. De verdad, se jodió todo porque yo nunca voy a parar de josear. Ya, pero un día, ojalá yo con ganar doble A. Dile a Mike Tower que me tire para hacer un collab. Sin pijama, Nati, que me invite a la casa. Ojalá, ja, ja. Te era algo para sentirme fiebre. El meme. Ahora dejo que el Divino Vega que lo parta. Vega.
From the past to the present to the future, been fucking the game up, different angles, Kama Sutra. From handguns to machine guns, flamethrowers to bazookas, goes down in these streets to inside your computer. Your streets made of tears, Reese's fans like Medusa. Y'all crying in the comment section, shout out Brett Cooper. We're champions, you're cheaters, we're winners, you're losers. When I take off, I'm gone, if you don't keep up, I'll lose ya. I've been contemplating and changing my name to Il Divino. What is that? Italiano, Latino, Boston born, Chicago raised. My roots are in Puerto Rico, y la Boricua, and I'm the last cacique de lo taíno. I've descended from Rex to Regal. Say it's my ego, see how fast you get introduced to my desert eagle. See, nice as Galito, but I know my rights, I'm keeping it legal. Once you level up, gotta watch how they treat you. Fauci, ouchie, I'm afraid of no needle, but don't lie, if you a man of the people. See, I can allow you to see me, but I am not see the transparent and honest for you to know that I speak truth, while others be deceitful. A bunch of these clucks now remind me of Smeagol. Whenever your vice can lead you to evil, no cap, I am no saint, but I will not deceive you, never mislead you. Don't ever get it twisted though, I do not need you. See, like Batman, I work best alone. I stayed loaded like Rambo, Sylvester Stallone. It's nothing when I'm gone, man, easy phone home. It's just like Jay-Z and Kanye, return to the throne. It's the rise of the empire, attacking the clones. While everyone's sheep now, I am the goat. I believe in myself now, if nobody won't. There's no need to lie, cause I know that you don't. I just hope you got my rise of the empire, attacking the clones line. You know, as the empire rises, we're witnessing the fall of the republic. Everybody that just follows suit is a bunch of sheep, just like the clones doing what they told. Just know who Palpatine is though, you know? Shout out Joey B. From Chicago to Boston, Midwest to the East Coast, and this island in the Caribbean known as Puerto Rico is why the bars are lethal. Got me going beast mode in this game called life. You better know some cheat codes. Il Divino's back, someone let the streets know. 6 shots for the folks and 5 shots for my peoples. I think it's high time we all have a sit down. Can we all agree the game is gone to shit now? Like the fall of Rome, the death of Romulus, history repeating itself if you know it's obvious. If you had your head inside of a book instead of binoculars, you'd be able to see without a pair of binoculars. Our tax dollars being spent towards the damn omnibus, but the rich stay rich, commoners remain commoners. The tentacles and everything like a damn octopus. Mass media, mass hysteria, how they control the populace. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Living in the shy, can't let them catch me snoozing. Dudes be shooting just for the amusement. I refuse to be a victim, never be a loser. When your city is a war zone, who gives a fuck about Putin? And there ain't none safe about the safety act. There's more safety in being strapped. They should choose you, shoot back. Those odds are better than getting caught laying on your back. Don't believe me, check the stats. I'm just bringing you the facts. With my hand on the Bible, I swear to rap the truth. My mighty God, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. My people perish for lack of knowledge. My knowledge I share with you. There's nothing we can't accomplish. One head ain't better than two. That's the purpose of a democratic republic. Discussion on every subject, in truth, logic, and reason, till we reach an agreement. A nation under God is how the states united. Got out of the picture, look how gradually we divided. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk. Cash rules everything around me, and on every dollar bill it's printed in God we trust. Yeah, everyone lives in fear around me. The truth will set you free. Quick shout out to Elon Musk.
Arrogance is the primary ingredient that will make you assume you can take action without God. Arrogance. That's actually what it is. You think you got this, and you